We have a question coming in from Srinivas from Andhra Pradesh. He's been holding HDFC shares, 15 shares of the company, purchased at 1930 rupees a share. Says he's a long-term investor, wants to know if he should hold or sell. Mayuresh, welcome, and that's the first question.
Evening, Lata. I think since he is a long-term investor, I think he should definitely hold on to the stock. As Abhishek was mentioning, I think the AUM growth was slower. But again, I think a large element in terms of how the macro conditions have panned out, I think it's still a reasonable amount of growth in my opinion. The other element in terms of the qualitative parameters that one probably looks at, there has been a slight increase in terms of asset quality with GNPS coming at 1.22. But again, I think that has to be taken in the stride of the book that it probably manages. And again, I think the NIMs and spreads more or less on lines that we expected. So again, I think the earnings growth should be reasonable for this behemoth going forward. So hold on to the stock. I think this is one stock that you can keep in your portfolio.
Okay. So he's just sitting at where he bought the stock. He bought it at 1930 and it's at 1922. But stay put is the advice. With that, let's get to the third headline. The Adani Group stocks recovered in trade today. Adani Enterprises, Ports, Power, all of them ended in the green after seeing severe cuts in trade yesterday. JP Morgan in its note bet big on the Adani Port stock. Although non-banking financials companies, several of them extended their losses. A notable exception is India Bulls, which pulled up a goodish bit, recovered practically all its losses by end of day today.
Well, we've got a question coming in. Ankush Shetty from Bombay has written in with a query on Adani Ports. He's been holding 10 shares of Adani Ports. His cost is 390 rupees a share. Been holding them for the last 2 weeks. He wants to know whether he should keep holding or sell. Mayuresh, again, what would you do? Adani Ports?
So evening, Prashant. Again, I think the large element in terms of the business model is how the container volume growth will pan out, and the management seems very, very confident, not just for this quarter, but a better part of next year as well, in terms of upping up their container volume growth. In terms of their port performances, I think the acquired ports are expected to do well, and the key ports should continue their good performance on a consolidated basis. Coming on to the SEZ part of it, I think what probably happens in terms of monetization on that angle, obviously is going to be a kicker in terms of adding on incrementally to the earnings. So yes, his buying price is on the higher side, but if he keeps on his patience, he should hold on to the stock.
Okay, very quickly, Mitesh, which is the Adani stock?
Well, welcome back. You're with us here on Markets Today Talk Back. We are taking stock of what happened during the day, and a pretty dramatic day with lots of cuts and reversals all in one trading session. We got you 3 of the top stories, so let's move on to the 4th story today. Stocks that reacted to their earnings, more earnings. Escorts saw profit booking after posting an inline set of numbers for the 3rd quarter. There was positive commentary from the management, which essentially said that they will outperform industry growth in the 4th quarter. Bank of India ended in the green despite worsening of slippages in the 3rd quarter. This is investors' hope the state-run lender will come out of the PCA framework pretty soon. I think we've got a question, Lata.
Yes, this is a viewer, Kanchan Devan. He has 300 Escorts shares purchased at 677 rupees a share. Says it's she, I'm sorry. Kanchan says she is a long-term investor. Should she hold or sell? Mayuresh, you first.
So Lata, obviously the disappointment came when the volume guidance was lowered, but again the management is reiterating the confidence that Q4 should be relatively better, both in terms of how volumes will pan out and how margins will pan out. The second element obviously is their distribution network, specifically in terms of North and West. And the third element obviously is the construction finance business and the railways execution, where they're sitting on an order book of 400 odd crores. So margins should probably see some amount of respite in the quarter to come. What probably comes out of the budget in terms of farmers' sops should be keenly awaited. So again, I think if she has a long-term view, she can very well hold on to the stock.
She's bought it at 677. She's not bought it at 1,000 rupees, which it touched sometime last year. So it's off highs and a good stock for sure. A quick chart check. She says she's long-term, but still, Mitesh. But the unfortunate news is that we don't have time to take more questions. Mitesh and Mayuresh, thank you very much for joining us.
And from all of us here, thank you very much for staying with us. More coming up on the other side.